I have awakened in thy shelter, oh my God, and it becometh him that seeketh that shelter to abide within the sanctuary of thy protection and the stronghold of thy defense. Illumine my inner being, oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor. Illumine my inner being, oh my Lord, with the splendors of the day spring of thy revelation, even as thou didst illumine my outer being with the morning light of thy favor. Good morning, everyone. Nene, could you do me a favor and turn that monitor up just a bit? No, up there on the desk. Yeah, the desk monitor. Yeah, could you turn it? Yeah, that's so much better. Let me hang on, because that's what we end up hearing, and what the people on Facebook actually end up hearing. That's so much better. Good morning, everyone. Hello, how you doing, Terry? How you doing, Dale? Here in our Zoom. And good morning, everyone out there in Facebook land. As you can see, I'm here by myself today. And for those of you who understand what I'm saying right now, happy Ayamiha to you. Happy Ayamiha. For anyone who does not know what Ayamiha is, this is a special time of year for Baha'is, leading into the fast. Each year, Baha'is have a 19-day fast, usually beginning on March the 2nd, but in leap years, it starts on different days, you know. But it goes for 19 days. And yeah, and so we are now at the time of Ayamiha, which is usually the last few days of February and the 1st of March, in which we are celebrating, and there's gift giving and parties and people getting together and so forth and so on. So we're in that time right now. So happy Ayamiha to all of you. And as you can see, Daryl's not with me here today. We actually saw Daryl yesterday. He was actually performing. We were performing at another function yesterday, and I think he's just a little tired. There's going to be a gathering here, not at this specific place, but here locally. Going to be a gathering that he's going to be there, and I'm going to be there, and I think he's probably just a little bit tuckered out. How you doing, Nini? Good, thank you. You doing well? And again, good morning to everyone in Facebook land. I again want to remind you, if you're someone who just joins us through Facebook, I actually considered not doing devotion today, but I didn't think to say it last week. And the reason is because we have so many other things going on. But I keep remembering that if you are not signed in through the clearwaterbahais.org website, then you wouldn't get the notice saying that the devotions were canceled. And what ends up happening is, I always get a few notices, which frankly makes me feel kind of good when people say, "Why didn't we have devotions?" but anyway, so anyway, here I am, and Nini's here with me, and I'm just going to go ahead right now and say a brief prayer. This is a prayer by Baha'u'llah for spiritual growth. O my Lord, make thy beauty to be my food, and thy presence my drink, and thy pleasure my hope, and praise of thee my action, and remembrance of thee my companion, and the power of thy sovereignty my succorer, and thy habitation my home, and my dwelling place the seat thou hast sanctified from the limitations imposed upon them who are shut out as by a veil from thee. Thou art verily the Almighty, the All-Glorious, the Most Powerful. And again, this is a prayer from Baha'u'llah. I want to take a moment out, and I still remember when I was first began studying the faith more than 25 years ago now, and I came across that word succorer, and I had no idea what it meant. And sometimes when people say it quickly, it sounds like succor, but it's succorer, and I wondered what it meant. What it means is strengthener, a source of strength. So when we say, and it does appear in some other prayers, and so I just want to make a point for anyone who might be hearing that word for the first time and wondered what it means. And the power of thy sovereignty, my succorer, my strength. The power of God's sovereignty, my strength. So I'm going to put that aside and read something briefly from Baha'u'llah, from Gleanings, as here recently I like to do, because so often, well, pretty much every day when I read Gleanings, I come across something that I think, people need to hear this. Here's something that people need to hear. All things have I willed for thee, and thee too for thine own sake. All things have I willed for thee, and thee too for thine own sake. If the learned and worldly wise men of this age were to allow mankind to inhale the fragrance of fellowship and love, every understanding heart would apprehend the meaning of true liberty and discover the secret of undisturbed peace and absolute composure. Were the earth to attain this station and be illumined with its light, it could then be truly said of it, thou shalt see in it no hollows or rising hills. And that's just a brief passage from Baha'u'llah in Gleanings. And now, we're going to go ahead and get to today's readings. As you know, we've been studying for a good little while now from Baha'u'llah and the New Era by J.E. Esselmont, Baha'u'llah and the New Era, an introduction to the Baha'i Faith. Let me put that over here for the folks over here. Okay. An introduction to the Baha'i Faith, J.E. Esselmont. And we are still studying the chapter that answers the question, what is a Baha'i? What is a Baha'i? Nini, could you do me a favor? Well, you don't have to get up. But I always wonder if is anyone in there in Facebook as of yet? I just want to say good morning if anyone's name pops up. Not yet? Okay. Margaret is with us? Oh, Margot. Oh, hi there, Margaret. How you doing? Good morning.
Jean.
Who? Jean? Well, I just want to say good morning. Good morning, Jean. Karan. Oh, Karan. My buddy Karan. How you doing, Karan? It's okay. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, as we were reading, I'm going to start actually in that last section that comes from, that we actually read last week. And it says, the tongue of grandeur hath in the day of his manifestation proclaimed, it is not his to boast who loveth his country, but it is his who loveth the world. In other words, patriotism is good, but it's even better if you simply love the entire world. It is not his to boast who loveth his country, but it is his who loveth the world. Blessed is he who prefers his brother before himself. Such an one is of the people of Baha. Abdul Baha tells us, we must be as one soul in many bodies, for the more we love each other, the nearer we shall be to God. To an American audience, he, Abdu'l-Baha, said, good morning, Gilbert, and good morning, Ralph. Ralph is on his way in. But to an American audience, Abdu'l-Baha said, likewise, the divine religions of the holy manifestations of God are in reality one. I'm going to read that again. Likewise, the divine religions of the holy manifestations of God are in reality one, though in name and nomenclature they differ. So Abdu'l-Baha is telling us, yeah, terms may differ, names differ, but basically all of these divinely revealed religions are part of one and the same faith. Good morning, Terry. Good morning, Yuta. And good morning, Ralph. And good morning, Gilbert. I think I already said hello to Terry. I'm going to start that again.
Good morning, Aloha. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much. And happy Ayamiha to everyone. So I'm going to read that again because the next line, which is, of course, we need to hear the context of it. So, likewise, the divine religions of the holy manifestations of God are in reality one, though in name and nomenclature they differ. He goes on to say, man must be a lover of the light no matter from what day spring it may appear. Man must be a lover of the light no matter from what day spring it may appear. He must be a lover of the rose no matter what soil it may be growing. He must be a seeker of the truth no matter from what source it come. So again, we get all caught up on names and, let's say, denominations and sects and so forth and so on. And what we're being told here is all of those divine religions come from the same place. And we need to love the light being God, and not get so caught up on a name and terms and so forth that we lose sight of the fact that all of these are in fact part of one faith. He must be a seeker of the truth no matter from what source it come. Attachment to the lantern, I love this, attachment to the lantern is not loving the light. Attachment to the lantern is not loving the light. Attachment to the earth is not befitting, but enjoyment of the rose which develops from the soil is worthy. Attachment to the earth is not befitting, but enjoyment of the rose which develops from the soil is worthy. Devotion to the tree is profitless, but partaking of the fruit is beneficial. Luscious fruits, no matter upon what tree they grow or where they may be found, must be enjoyed. The word of truth, no matter which tongue utters it, must be sanctioned. Absolute verities, no matter in what book they may be recorded, must be accepted. Verities, I'm sure you know, means truth, but I want to point that out. Absolute truths, absolute verities, no matter in what book they be recorded, must be accepted. If we harbor prejudice, it will be the cause of deprivation and ignorance. Good morning, Kim. Good morning, Hushong. I want to read that whole thing again. I'm not going to because it's a little lengthy. But again, he's telling us, don't get so caught up on names that you lose sight of the source of all these truths. If we harbor prejudice, it will be the cause of deprivation and ignorance. The strife between religions, nations, and races arises from misunderstanding. If we investigate the religions to discover the principles underlying their foundations, we will find they agree. Nene, could you bring me a tissue, please? I'm sorry. I thought I had a napkin here and I don't. If we investigate the religions to discover the principles underlying their foundations, we will find they agree. Thank you, sweetheart. Having a little sinus issue going on here. We will find they agree, for the fundamental reality of them is one and not multiple. I'll read that sentence again. If we investigate the religions to discover the principles underlying their foundations, we will find they agree. For the fundamental reality of them is one and not multiple. By this means, the religionists of the world will reach their point of unity and reconciliation. Religionist, if you are someone who belongs to a particular faith, believes in God, practices a certain religion, you are a religionist. By this means, the religionists of the world will reach their point of unity and reconciliation. Again, he says, Abdu'l-Baha, again he says, every soul of the beloved ones must love the others and withhold not his possessions and life from them. And by all means, he must endeavor to make the other joyous and happy. But these others must also be disinterested and self-sacrificing. Thus may this sunrise flood the horizons, this melody gladden and make happy all the people, this divine remedy become the panacea for every disease, this spirit of truth become the cause of life for every soul. And so this is again the chapter that we're reading is What is a Baha'i, but the section of that chapter that we're just finished with, that line just finished reading, is love of God. We all should, again, if you are someone who believes in God, then you love God, okay? And the manifestation of God that brings you that truth, while we certainly should revere them, we should not revere them over the others. Because as Abdu'l-Baha here is saying, they all come from the same place. They're all sharing the truth that God has sent through them. Now moving on, what is a Baha'i? This next section is severance. Devotion to God implies also severance from everything that is not of God. Severance, that is, from all selfish and worldly and even otherworldly desires. Wow. Yeah, I just caught that, otherworldly desires. That's one word with a hyphen, otherworldly. Devotion to God implies also severance from everything that is not of God. Severance, that is, from all selfish and worldly and even otherworldly desires. The path of God may lie through riches or poverty, health or sickness, through palace or dungeon, rose garden or torture chamber. My goodness, that's quite a statement. You know, we all want life to be easy, but what we're being told here is that, you can follow that path or find God through a variety of paths. And he juxtaposes here, obviously what's very pleasant and pleasing against, things that may be extremely difficult. And yet he's saying the path of God may lie through any of these. The path of God may lie through riches or poverty, health or sickness, through palace or dungeon, rose garden or torture chamber. Whichever it be, the Baha'i will learn to accept his lot with radiant acquiescence. I think I need to put an asterisk by there and come back and read it 20 times a day. Whichever it be, the Baha'i will learn to accept his lot with radiant acquiescence. Just give into it, accept things as they are. So, and not just accept, but understand that this is what life is for me right now. Doesn't mean stop trying to improve life and so forth. Severance does not mean stolid indifference to one's surroundings or passive resignation to evil conditions. Nor does it mean despising the good things which God has created. I'm going to read that again. We might not get far today because to me so many of these are just really profound. Severance does not mean stolid indifference to one's surroundings or passive resignation to evil conditions. Nor does it mean despising the good things which God has created. The true Baha'i will not be callous or apathetic or ascetic. He will find abundant interest, abundant work, and abundant joy in the path of God. But he will not deviate one hair's breadth from that path in pursuit of pleasure, nor hanker after anything that God has denied him. When a man becomes a Baha'i, God's will becomes his will. For to be at variance with God is the one thing he cannot endure. In the path of God, no errors can appall, no troubles dismay him. You accept mistakes and you keep on trying to be on that path. In the path of God, no errors can appall, no troubles dismay him. The light of love irradiates his darkest days, transmutes suffering into joy, and martyrdom itself into an ecstasy of bliss. Life is lifted to the heroic plane, and death becomes a glad adventure. Wow. Life is lifted to the heroic plane, and death becomes a glad adventure. Baha'u'llah says, "Whoso cherisheth in his heart the love of anyone besides me, be it to the extent of a grain of mustard seed, shall be unable to gain admittance into my kingdom." Whoso cherisheth in his heart the love of anyone beside me, be it to the extent of a grain of mustard seed, shall be unable to gain admittance into my kingdom. Remembering that that kingdom is not the earthly kingdom. O Son of Man, this is another passage. O Son of Man, if thou lovest me, turn away from thyself. And if thou seekest my pleasure, regard not thine own, that thou mayest die in me, and I may eternally live in thee. Another passage, and this is also from the Hidden Words. O my servant, free thyself from the fetters of this world, and loose thy soul from the prison of self. Seize thy chance, for it will come to thee no more. I'll read that again. O my servant, free thyself from the fetters of this world, and loose thy soul from the prison of self. Seize thy chance, for it will come to thee no more. Wow. We move on to another section, and this section is about obedience. Devotion to God involves implicit obedience to his revealed commands, even when the reason for these commands is not understood. The sailor implicitly obeys his captain's orders, even when he does not know the reason for them, but his acceptance of authority is not blind. He knows full well that the captain has served a thorough probation and given ample proofs of competence as a navigator. Were it not so, he would be foolish indeed to serve under him. So the Baha'i must implicitly obey the captain of his salvation. But he will be foolish indeed if he has not first ascertained that this captain has given ample truths of trustworthiness. Ample truths of trustworthiness. Having received such proofs, however, to refuse obedience would be even greater folly. For only by intelligent and open-eyed obedience to the wise master can we reap the benefits of his wisdom and acquire this wisdom for ourselves. I'll read that again. Having received such proofs, however, to refuse obedience. I really broke that up pretty bad. Let me start that again. Having received such proofs, however, I don't know why I'm struggling with this. I'll try it again. Having received such proofs, however, to refuse obedience would be even greater folly. For only by intelligent and open-eyed obedience to the wise master can we reap the benefits of his wisdom and acquire this wisdom for ourselves. Be the captain never so wise, if none of the crew obey him, how shall the ship reach its port or the sailors learn the art of navigation. Christ clearly pointed out that obedience is the path of knowledge. He said, "My doctrine is not mine, but his that sent me. If any man will do his will, he shall know of the doctrine, whether it be of God or whether I speak of it myself." And that's from St. John. So Baha'u'llah says, true belief in God and recognition of him cannot be complete save by acceptance of that which he hath revealed and by observance of whatsoever hath been decreed by him and set down in the book by the pen of glory. A lot of times we're told to, obey things that we don't necessarily understand. Obviously, this doesn't mean turn our brains off, but we do need to understand that sometimes, when we're told to do certain things, we might not see the whole picture. We certainly don't see the whole picture, from the vantage point of God or his manifestations. Implicit obedience is not a popular virtue in these democratic days. And indeed, entire submission to the will of any mere man would be disastrous. I'll read that again. Implicit obedience is not a popular virtue in these democratic days, and indeed, entire submission to the will of any mere man would be disastrous. But the unity of humanity can be attained only by complete harmony of each and all with the divine will. The unity of humanity can be attained only by complete harmony of each and all with the divine will. Unless that will be clearly revealed and men abandon all other leaders and obey the divine messenger, then conflict and strife will go on, and men will continue to oppose each other, to devote a large part of their energy to frustrating the efforts of their brother men, instead of working harmoniously for the glory of God and the common good. I'll read that. Wow, that's no, I'm not going to read that again. It's a very long sentence, but I'm sure you get it. It's just, we see that happening, and we've seen it happening even before, the days when we were taking our first breath, and yet, it still continues. I had a song planned, but I've changed my mind about what I was going to do. So give me a moment here, please. I think it would be a good time for "O Holy Mariner." And here we are. This is a song basically about God's guidance and asking for that guidance. So just give me one little moment here. Here we go. Oh, holy mariner, come and light my way. Oh, holy mariner, come and light my way. The waves of strife keep rising and crashing on the shore. I feel my life capsizing, I can't do anymore. Oh, holy mariner, won't you guide my life? won't you guide my life? The nights get oh so stormy, and I feel so overwhelmed. Please shine your light upon me. Please come and take the helm. Holy Mariner, Holy Mariner, Holy Mariner. The seas of life are much too strong for me to sail them on my own. The sky is much too dark for me to find my way. So won't you guide me on this journey? Be a lighthouse on the shore. Be that beacon in the night till there comes the light of day. Holy Mariner, Holy Mariner, Holy Mariner, Holy Mariner. The seas of life are much too strong for me to sail them on my own. The sky is much too dark for me to find my way. So won't you guide me on this journey? Be a lighthouse on the shore. Be that beacon in the night till there comes the light of day. Holy Mariner, Holy Mariner, Holy Mariner, I give my will to you. Holy Mariner, life has no worth without you. Holy Mariner, only you can rescue me. Holy Mariner, through all eternity. Oh, Holy Mariner, just guide me on this voyage. Holy Mariner, for anyone who may be wondering about that, that imagery, oh, Holy Mariner, it actually comes from some of the writings of Baha'u'llah, in which the manifestation of God is depicted as, let's say, the captain of a ship, the Holy Mariner, captain of a ship, guiding us. So that's where that song comes from. Let's continue. 1034. Okay. Okay. Let me make sure okay. Yeah. Now we're moving on to read about service. Again, we're reading about what is a Baha'i. And this next section is about service. Devotion to God implies a life of service to our fellow creatures. I'll read that again. Devotion to God implies a life of service to our fellow creatures. We can be of service to God in no other way. That's pretty profound. Devotion to God implies a life of service to our fellow creatures. We can be of service to God in no other way. If we turn our backs on our fellow men, we are turning our backs upon God. Christ said, I love the fact that he keeps referring to Jesus and juxtaposing that, or at least maybe conflating that might be a better word, with the words of Baha'u'llah, because again, they come from the same source. If we turn our backs on our fellow men, we are turning our backs upon God. Christ said, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not to me. Christ said, inasmuch as ye did it not to one of the least of these, you did it not to me. So Baha'u'llah says, O son of man, if thine eyes be turned towards mercy, forsake the things that profit thee, and cleave unto that which will profit mankind. And if thine eyes be turned towards justice, choose thou for thy neighbor that which thou choosest for thyself. I'm going to read that again. So Baha'u'llah says, O son of man, if thine eyes be turned towards mercy, forsake the things that profit thee, and cleave unto that which will profit mankind. And if thine eyes be turned towards justice, choose thou for thy neighbor that which thou choosest for thyself. This comes from Tablets of Baha'u'llah, Words of Paradise. To continue, Abdul Baha says, in the Baha'i cause, arts, sciences, and all crafts are counted as worship. In the Baha'i cause, arts, sciences, and all crafts are counted as worship. So for those of you who have, some way of artistic expression, no matter what it be, you should know that expression is very much revered and very much held up. The man who makes a piece of note paper to the best of his ability, conscientiously, concentrating all his forces on perfecting it, is giving praise to God. Briefly, all effort and exertion put forth by man from the fullness of his heart is worship. All effort and exertion put forth by man from the fullness of his heart is worship, if it is prompted by the highest motives and the will to do service to. This is worship, to serve mankind and to minister to the needs of the people. Service is prayer. Service is prayer. A physician ministering to the sick, gently, tenderly, free from prejudice, and believing in the solidarity of the human race, is giving praise. I think that would be a good place for it to stop today. Nini, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put you on the spot right now. She hates when I do this, but Nini, by profession, is a chef. And it seems like everywhere she goes, when she's starting a new job and so forth, she lifts things to another level. And she just, reading that passage, I could not help thinking of you and everything you do. She's looking at me like, like she doesn't like me using her in this positive example. But it's true. I mean, you go places and you do some things that people are just wowed by. And it's like that's just your standard. And I don't think you can deny that you are really, really serving humanity in the way you do what you do. So at this time, moving on, if there is anyone who would like to share a prayer or reading or a song of your choosing, this is that time. So if anyone would like to share a prayer or reading, this is that time. Please feel free to do so. And because we have some time, you're looking at me like you're going to, because we have some time, I don't know if anyone's going to share or not, but if you do, please feel free to just unmute yourselves. This is something that I think is good to read in relation to what we just read. And this is again coming from Baha'u'llah. How wondrous is the unity of the living, the ever-abiding God. A unity which is exalted above all limitations, that transcendeth the comprehension of all created things. He hath from everlasting dwelt in his inaccessible habitation of holiness and glory, and will unto everlasting continue to be enthroned upon the heights of his independent sovereignty and grandeur. From the exalted source, and out of the essence of his favor and bounty, he hath entrusted every created thing with a sign of his knowledge, so that none of his creatures may be deprived of its share in expressing, each according to its capacity and rank, this knowledge, the knowledge that God has given them. This sign is the mirror of his beauty in the world of creation. The greater the effort exerted for the refinement of this sublime and noble mirror, the more faithfully will it be made to reflect the glory of the names and attributes of God and reveal the wonders of his signs and knowledge. Every created thing will be enabled, so great is this reflecting power, to reveal the potentialities of its preordained station, will recognize its capacity and limitations, and will testify to the truth that he verily is God. There is none other God besides him. So again, when we're talking about guidance from God, it's basically what that passage is saying. In every created thing, there are signs of God therein. And I think in relation to what we just read about, when we really work to serve mankind, when we're doing that and trying to do that to the best of our ability, to the best of our capability, well, then indeed, that is prayer, that is worship. And we all have some capacity. We all have some capacity towards that end. If you're an artist, or if you work some kind of craft or some kind of service, or if you do it to the best of your ability, you are using the gifts that God has given you to do so. And it is lifted to the level of worship when done for the purpose of serving mankind. Well, that being said, it's 10:44. We've only got a few minutes left. No one wants to offer up a prayer or reading. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I see Terry getting ready to unmute. Yes, Terry, did you want to share?
Yeah, I was in the middle of doing something, so I'm ready.
Please.
He is the mighty, the pardoner, the compassionate. O God, my God, thou beholdest thy servants in the abyss of perdition and error. Where is the light of thy divine guidance, O thou the desire of the world? Thou knowest their helplessness and their feebleness. Where is thy power, O thou whose grasp lie the powers of heaven and earth? I ask thee, O Lord my God, by the splendor of the lights of thy loving kindness, and the billows of the ocean of thy knowledge and wisdom, and by thy word wherewith thou hast swayed the peoples of the dominion, to grant that I may be one of them that hath observed thy bidding in thy book, and do thou ordain for me that which thou hast ordained for thy trusted ones, them that have quaffed the wine of divine inspiration from the chalice of thy bounty, and hasten to do thy pleasure, and observe thy covenant and testament. Powerful art thou to do what thou willest. There is none other God but thee, the all-knowing, the all-wise. Decree for me by thy bounty, O Lord, that which shall prosper me in this world and hereafter, and shall draw me nigh unto thee, O thou who art the Lord of all men. There is none other God but thee, the mighty, the one, the mighty, the glorified.
Thank you, Terry.
Anthony,
Yes, Rob.
do you know the song was done by the Golden Gate Quartet back in 1946? It's either go by the name Knock Knock or No Restricted Signs in Heaven. You ever heard it?
I'm sorry. Could you please repeat that, Nini? Could you please bring that monitor up again, just a little bit, because I'm having a little problem hearing there. What was that again, Ralph?
It's either go by the name Knock Knock or No Restricted Signs in Heaven. Knock, 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 knock. Old folks knocking at the Golden Gate. It sounds like, remember what Paula talked about, the manifestation being seated on the same throne of glory? Because this is how part of the song goes. And lo, there was a Lord upon the simple throne, and he looked like Moses, and he looked like Buddha, and he looked
Goodness,
like.
no, I don't know that song, but it sounds like something that should be. I mean, is that a Baha'i song specifically?
Well, it's done by the Golden Gate Quartet.
Oh,
So when I moved up into it would be during our year of generosity. It was in 1946.
I am
It
not familiar
was
with
called
that.
the Golden Gate Quartet.
The Golden Gate Quartet. I'm gonna have to Google that and see if I can find that song. Thank you, Ralph.
And another song, what was the one, Hope of Deliverance, that Paul McCartney, the one he sang, there's a video on it. Hope of Deliverance.
Hope and Deliverance by Paul McCartney, you say?
Yeah, you heard of it?
No, I can't say I have, and don't get me wrong, I was a Beatles fan back in the day, but I haven't heard that. But I should be able to find that on Google. I should be able to Google that.
I think both of those are on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll have to look for them. Thank you, Ralph. Thank you. Now, Kim, it looked like you wanted to share something.
Yes, I wanted to do a prayer, say a
Please.
prayer.
Mhm.
Okay. Glory be to thee, O Lord my God. I implore thee by thy name, through which thou didst lift up the ensigns of thy guidance, and didst shed the radiance of thy loving kindness, and didst reveal the sovereignty of thy lordship, through which the lamp of thy names hath appeared within the niche of thine attributes. And he who is the tabernacle of thy unity and the manifestation of detachment hath shone forth, through which the ways of thy guidance were made known, and the paths of thy good pleasure were marked out, through which the foundations of error have been made to tremble, and the signs of wickedness have been abolished, through which the fountains of wisdom have burst forth, and the heavenly table hath been sent down, through which thou didst preserve thy servants, and didst vouchsafe thy healing, through which thou didst show forth thy tender mercies unto thy servants, and revealest thy forgiveness amidst thy creatures. I implore thee to keep safe him who hath held fast and returned unto thee, and clung to thy mercy, and seized the hem of thy loving providence. Send down then upon him thy healing, and make him whole, and endue him with a constancy vouchsafed by thee, and a tranquility bestowed by thy highness. Thou art verily the healer, the preserver, the helper, the almighty, the powerful, the all glorious, the all knowing.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you very much. And now we're right at about 5 minutes. So it's important that, as usual, we point out that this is a joint effort. It's not just a couple of guys who decided to try and do some things online for the faith. We're simply doing what many Baha'is do, and that is simply use, the methods at our disposal to try and share this faith and, just, again, give that service. But if you are someone who is interested in learning more about the Baha'i faith, I failed to mention this is a community effort, a joint community effort. And if you're interested in knowing more about the Baha'i faith, of course, there are places that you can go online. You may even have local Baha'is living in your area, and you just never had to, you might have never thought to try and find that out. But again, if you want to know more, there are some authoritative websites that we always like to recommend, and these are those websites. Okay, you've got www.baha'i.org, you've got www.baha'i.us, www.bahaiteachings.org, and here locally, obviously you don't have to be local to access this website, but you can go to www.clearwaterbaha'is.org. And once again, I really recommend that if you join us regularly, I recommend that you go to the clearwaterbaha'is.org website, and to register, I just learned recently, you want to actually, you can contact them through email by, I think it's admin@clearwaterbaha'is.org, admin@clearwaterbaha'is.org, and you can register there. And that way, in times when we may be having to cancel or something like that, you'll get the message. And you can also, that would enable you to join us in Zoom. You're wondering if you wanted to share a prayer or something of that nature, you can join us in Zoom. Okay, but you'd have to register again on the clearwaterbaha'is.org website. Also, by going to that website, there are other programs and so forth. Gilbert, who often joins us, he was here earlier. He coordinates and often actually teaches a class in that in that particular capacity, and that's another service that they give on that website. So I'm going to set this aside, and of course, if Darrell were here, he would say, no matter what you do for this next week, no matter where you go, no matter whose paths you cross, make sure you serve the love. Serve the love, share the love. There we go. Share the love. Make sure you share the love. Have a good week, folks, and allow our power. O people of justice, be as brilliant as the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love will no doubt fuse and unify the contending peoples and kindreds of the earth, whilst the fierceness of the flame of enmity and hatred cannot but result in strife and ruin. We beseech God that he may shield his creatures from the evil designs of his enemies. He verily hath power over all things. Let your vision be world embracing. Let your vision be world embracing. I'm gonna shorten that. Watch over yourselves, for the evil one is lying in wait, ready to entrap you. Gird yourselves against his wicked devices, and led by the light of the name of the all-seeing God, make your escape from the darkness that surrounded you. Let your vision be world-embracing, rather than confined to your own self. These are the words words
These are the words
of Baha'u'llah.
of Baha'u'llah.
Have a good week, folks. Take care out there in Facebook land. Hope we see you next week. Take care.
Aloha. Good day.
Aloha.